Hi guys, this is Charles1K92 here, and today we are going to be talking about Assassin's Creed Origins and also its imminent release. This game will be releasing in October the 27th, 2017, a game which I am most anticipated for. But before we get there, we are going to be doing these videos. These videos are going to go through each week until we get to Assassin's Creed Origins, which I believe is 5 weeks away from now, or a month away. No, it should be a month, 27 days. Oh, 38 actually, 31, whatever. So this week we are on the 27th, as we are, because today is the 27th, and we are going to do this one per week. So this one is going to be mainly focusing around about AC1, anything AC1 related, and maybe AC2. So let's just try and crack on with this. So, checking on my laptop here, just to kind of go through, when did Assassin's Creed get released? Assassin's Creed first was releasing need to figure this out, it was released in November the 13th, 2007, worldwide, I believe. Nowhere else, just to kind of like go along with it. It was a single player game. I just have to do this because why not? And basically we follow around an assassin named Altair ibn Ahad, who goes around all the world of the Middle East, killing 9 separate men in 3 different locations. First location in Damascus, second location in Jerusalem, and third in Acre. All these cities were under different forms of occupation, but the other 2 cities were actually under the same form of occupation. It's just whatever the reasons. So, if we take in Acre, Acre was under Crusader control. It was under 3 different terms of districts around different areas. District 1, which was the most porous, was under the Knights Hospitalia. These guys were basically, I don't know what they were, but let's just say they were very menacing. You can tell the difference of who they were by the black robes they wear with the white cross. The next kind of group were Teutonic Knights. These knights were very dramatic as well. Their banner was nothing more than just a white tunic with a black cross, sometimes red. Then there were the King Lionheart Knights, as I like to call them. These knights came from Great Britain. They were the Englishmen of, the Order. Now, the Templars also had their bases of operations there due to 3 guys in charge. You had Garnier de Naplouse, William de Montferrat, and Sabran. Each 3 of these guys were working for the same organisation, the Knights Templar, and their goal was to keep Acre under their control, undermining King Richard of England, denying him reinforcements when he needed it most, poisoning the city and its people, and also trying to force them to do stuff that they wouldn't normally do. In the other cities, you had Tamir. I need to find this out actually, just so that I can just go and get myself educated, because it's been a while. Right. I don't mean to keep this for too long, it's just something which I have to do, because why not? But you know what, fuck it. For whatever reason, so there were 3 guys in different parts of the city. They mainly did different things to control the populace. Basically through torture and intimidation, through medicine as well, and also through bullying tactics. Now the Templars were known for this, and they'd done this everywhere they were. They were after an ancient artifact, which I can show you because I have a prop which is from the Assassin's Creed movie. Is one of these. This is known as an Apple of Eden. It is an ancient artifact made from those who came before. And generally what it's able to do is bend the mind of anybody who looks upon it, or whoever's actually in control of it. So if, let's say, I wielded the real thing and I wanted to, I could somehow possess people and tell them what to do. So if I can come up with a scenario, let's say I had somebody here and this was real and I didn't really like them that much, I could use the apple to persuade them to jump out my window. They do it as well. And if they somehow lived, I tell them to go do it again until they died. But there's a crux to these things. They won't be used properly unless you have the right genetic code. So that's a given. You need this. Not this, but you know what I mean. So, Altair is the assassin that we follow in the game, that we play as well, along with his modern day counterpart, which is Desmond. Desmond doesn't really get much to do except look on emails when he can, when everybody's gone away after an anima session, and generally go to bed and also just relive the memory. He gets to meet two people in the present day, which is Lucy Stillman and Warren Vidic. Warren Vidic is a complete asshole and cunt, where Lucy, she's nice until at some point later on in the story. But moving on, because Altair is what we want to focus on. So Altair does a few naughty things under the Brotherhood. He breaks the 3 tenets of the creed, which is to not kill a civilian, never compromise the Brotherhood, and to never be seen. Well, actually, never be seen second and never compromise Brotherhood last. So, he kills an old man at the beginning of the game. He then goes and shows himself when he shouldn't have, and then he leads the enemy back home to where he lives, causing many deaths of not just the civilians there, but also his brothers and sisters that were also there as well. The cost of this, he got stabbed by his mentor and went into a coma. He wakes up, comes back, and his mentor tells him this, that we've taken away your rank, your title and privileges, but if you want them back, you have to work for them. Altair says, fine, let's get this over with. He does this, and over the course of the game, he redeems himself, but he learns something as well. A deeper, darker truth, that all these men that he's been sent to kill, they are all linked by the Templar organisation, who is a group of people who are basically on hell-bent on controlling the world and enslaving the populace under their own will. Whereas the assassins are more or less to say, listen, you can do what you like as long as you don't do anything wrong. That sounds good, right? Well, sort of. However, at the very end of the game, spoilers, Anwar Lim, who is Altair's mentor and teacher, is actually the main villain. He isn't the architect of it all, but he is somebody who helped get to the point of where we were. Well, to the point where we were, more or less to get the Templars what they wanted. But because Anwar Lim didn't want to share, he took the apple for himself and basically had Altair kill his competition, which generally feels bad. So afterwards, Altair faces off his mentor, he faces off the many phantoms which the Apple of Eden is able to do, and is also able to show people the truth of how life is, and what the origins of humanity are as well. That's going to be something else for another video. Now, Altair, after he kills his mentor, then does something else. He then tries to destroy the apple, but he cannot. The apple is too enticing, it's basically giving him knowledge. So what does he do? He keeps it. But then that's the end of Assassin's Creed 1. We're left with questions. We're left with what else? What else is there? Well, what else could there be? Not a lot. But why do we like the game? I know I just gave a long commentary, well, a very short commentary of how we've gone from one point to another. But at the end of the day, why do we like this game? What is it that we love? Is it the history that we're in? Is it the time that we're at? Is it the people that we see? Or is it the mere fact that we are wearing a hoodie, we're running up and down buildings, we're jumping off of high places, and then eventually we get to kill a few people? Generally like to think it is nearly everything. For me, I like to know about the history. A little bit, anyway. History is somewhat important. We get to learn from our mistakes from history, that's why it's history. If we didn't have this, we'd constantly be making the same mistakes again and again and again and again, until eventually common sense comes in and goes, doing, hey, you learned. But the history that we are seeing in the game is never 100%. It can't be. Because this is their own spin on history. Saying that, look, this is King Richard Lionheart. He is the King of England. He said this at this time, because we've said so. Well, that can't be true. Is it? Did he say that? But where is it in the history books? It isn't. So, so you've manipulated it and changed it. Yes, so Assassin's Creed is as accurate as it can be with history. With people, with places, and the time. However, it cannot be as accurate. That's why they like to play around with it. Whereas with Assassin's Creed 2, where we get to relive somebody else, I always find that their history is a little bit more bang on with AC2, due to the fact of people, time, places, and also some mannerisms and characteristics of certain characters who are historically there, who really did exist. Now, I fell in love with AC1 with only a comment that I found on a magazine article 10 years ago. Well, it will be 10 years ago when it's, well, I say 10, yeah, it was 10 years ago. And it was basically a magazine article for the PlayStation 3 and everything else. As I was reading it, I was basically looking up on PlayStation 3 news because, hey, it was about to come out, or it was out, or whatever. And I was going, I like this game because it has this one thing which got me really hooked, which was you just killed somebody, everybody saw you, what do you do? And it shows Altair stabbing someone. I liked that. So it made me think at the time that I am this character, that I am this guy. You're this person, you've just done this, the whole world sees you, what do you do? Run. Just run. Or you can stay and fight, it's entirely up to you, because when you unlock everything in the game, basically, you are technically unkillable unless you decide to be lazy and just stand around holding your sword going, hit me, hit me, hit me. The combat in the game at the beginning was, how can I put it, very lacking. It's just like, you're just standing there going like this, deflecting when you can, or if you're having the blade, you're doing this with it, or you're this. If you had the blade, you're more or less concealing it, sometimes going like this with it, showing off the blade if you wanted to, but you couldn't counteract with the blade, because for whatever reason. But that was it. You also had throwing knives, which Altair had here on his belt, and I think somewhere on his leg, if I can remember correctly, and you can have up to 15. However, he was supposed to have a crossbow, but it never transitioned into the game, which, you know, was a bomber. But eventually we get this in Brotherhood and Revelations, so it was a bonus to have, especially if you put the Altair skin on, because then he goes, hey, look, I did what I did then. But whatever. So, Assassin's Creed 1 got me hooked. I didn't pay attention to the story in the beginning, but after I played AC2, I thought, why the hell not? So, although this has been a very quick video, and I have basically probably butchered it a lot, but you know what? It is the way it is. And I'm doing these videos, just going step by step for each week. So next week, I'm going to be talking about Assassin's Creed 2 to Brotherhood, and maybe Revelations, because I can try to see if I can cram all 3 games into one. And maybe we might be able to get a little bit more to Assassin's Creed 3. I don't know, but that's that. Now, I have been Charles1K92. I will see you guys next time, next week. And we will continue this, as I said, with Assassin's Creed 2, to Brotherhood, to Revelations. And I'll see you guys then.